for the changes that they're making to the treaties now, which would allow the WHO a whole new host of abilities and of areas where it's legitimate for the WHO to intervene. For instance, corrections, you could call it that, to the WHO treaty, to the World Health regulations. The way that they work is that you basically now have to accept WHO intervention in a lot of areas. And the way that they decide whether or not there's an emergency that would justify that intervention isn't medical. It isn't even scientific. It has to do with how capable a country is to deal with a threat that we don't even know exists. But the definition of what a medical crisis that requires WHO intervention has to do with an assessment of the system's ability to deal with the crisis. Now, if it's a new disease or it's an old disease that you're taking worse than usual, how would you make that assessment? How do you know what you can or cannot do? How do you know what sort of scalability do you have? And why would you assume that the WHO, which is not a part of your system, is any better at managing the crisis than you are? Because we're also at war, and that the risks from losing that war for Israelis are enormous. Like Israel, if we lose the war with Iran right now, Israel will be wiped out. So does it make sense for the WHO to walk in and say, oh no, you also have a medical crisis, so now you stop the war? Because that is the level of commitment that the World Health regulations now require of states. And remember, I said that we would be very cautious about anyone dealing with national security, but you don't see it coming from the World Health regulations. But that's what the regulations, the new changes for the regulation actually say.
The attack is psychological and powerful.
Of people and planet. Food systems contribute to over 30% of greenhouse gas emissions